Okay, so the day is the 24th of February. It is 2:50 p.m. and I'm currently in Odessa, Ukraine. So it's been a very interesting day, very scary day this morning. Just thought I would try and keep a diary of it. Maybe someone wants to watch it in the future or something. But yeah, it's something that we thought wasn't going to happen. And of course it obviously did. It took us all by surprise. I mean, I woke up to something this morning, didn't know what it was, went back to bed, and then I heard the most bone-shattering explosion that rattled everything. So that was pretty scary. That was probably, I would say, hands down, probably the most scariest moment this morning when I realized that Ukraine was being attacked. I didn't actually know that at the time, but then as soon as I jumped onto social media and just saw the videos and the airport being attacked, whatever else was happening at the time, and everything that people were saying that Odessa's under attack, it was like incredibly scary. So today it's been, that happened like early in the morning, maybe 4, 5, 6 in the morning, something like that, I'm not too sure. The rest of the day here in Odessa has been, I'd say, relatively quiet compared to what I'm seeing online. And I probably heard, I would say, maybe 4 explosions today. One of them was incredibly large, probably larger than the one I heard this morning. But I can't see anything because I'm surrounded by buildings as well. I don't know where these explosions are coming from. Now, according to the media, it's all military targets, and Putin's aim is to demilitarize Ukraine, and it seems that from what I'm reading that killing civilians is not going to do him any favours, so I don't want to go into all that sort of stuff now. So yeah, I basically just chilled out for the day. The shops are open. Like, I'm surprised. Like, I went to the shop before and actually went and bought cigarettes, which I don't normally smoke, but I had the urge today to do that, and a few other little bits and pieces just in case I needed stuff here. Shop was open. People were just normally going about their daily business. It's really strange. In fact, it's almost, maybe I can show you out here, down here. I don't know if you can see or not, but there are children in the playground. I saw another couple of kids playing with their dog 10 minutes ago. Saw the guys emptying the rubbish bins before. I've seen people just sitting on that park bench having coffee. It's like it's so detached from what I'm feeling. It really is, and I don't know if that's the mentality of the Ukrainian people, and maybe they're used to this. Well, they can't be used to this, but the fact that there's always been this war in the Donbass region, they think that this is kind of normal. But for me, from New Zealand, it's pretty out there, and so I'm sort of, don't know. There's not much really I can do about it anyway, at all. So yeah, I'm just was going to just hunker down here, just let it play out. I've got a feeling tonight there's going to be a whole bunch more of attacks. I don't know what's happening with my camera. It's all, I think, not really. And the thing that really gets me is we, both Luba and I, we bought tickets to fly out of the country tonight. And the reason I guess I didn't go last night was because I needed a COVID test to fly out. So I thought I had a COVID test booked this morning, and after that I'll go to the airport and go out. But now everything is closed, so it's a day late. Such is life, I guess. So yeah, at the moment we're thinking about maybe driving to Moldova. We don't know how that would go. Moldova's, I don't even know how long that would take to get there at this stage. I think it normally takes about 3 or 4 hours. I would say, with everyone trying to go there, and apparently Moldova's like opened up its arms for, I guess, refugees, which is, it's a strange thing to think of. Is it? Am I a refugee? I don't know. But at least there's not going to be any shelling. But I do have other concerns that NATO steps in and Putin decides to attack other NATO countries, one being Moldova. That's not going to be a safe place to be. In some sense, I know it sounds really kind of fucked up, but I think like Odessa is probably not the most unsafe place in the world to be. I know it sounds a bit strange, But I don't see the reason that Putin would go and just blast away all of his, fellow people in a way. It's not like it's Muslims fighting Jews or whatever where they hate each other because of who they are. This is more just almost like a government thing, So I'd like to think that, what I'm guessing is that if he did just come and start blasting away apartment buildings and things like that, it's not going to make him look very good in terms of his own people, the Belarusian people, the Chinese, even the Indians, because that's not seen as something that's beneficial for your own country at all, So that was my thoughts on that. Maybe Moldova is the place or not, but man, the sound of those bombs going off is frightening. It's a real taste of what some people must experience in some of these maybe Middle Eastern countries where they deal with it all day, every day. Like I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about what it felt like this morning, and it was only something small. So that's my update for today. I don't have much else as soon as I got up, I packed up, like a bag with things that I need. But, the thing that's kind of scary is that if you leave, will you come back? Like I've got all my stuff here, and it's not even just that. It's like, this is where I live, and I like living here, regardless of this, But after this, will Odessa still be the same place? Will it still be a place people want to live, or where I would want to live? I don't know. I'm kind of thinking that it wouldn't be. And that sucks, because I've built a life here. So, yeah, don't know. But I guess the main thing now is just we want to get out and be safe and be away from all this stuff and go from there, I guess. We'll see you in the next one. Okay, 24th of February, 3:39 p.m. We were going to go to Moldova, but I'm thinking that the amount of people that'll be going and gas, because you can't buy gas anywhere, so it's just what's in the car, which I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. I'm looking out the window here. It looks like this gas station is empty. There was a lot of people in there today, but I've heard getting gas is pretty impossible. I would say also getting money from ATMs would be pretty hard as well. So, yeah, we're not going to go. We're worried that we're going to go there. It's probably going to take, it's normally a 3-hour drive, I think, something like that, but it'll probably end up taking 24 hours probably if the traffic is just moving and then you may have to turn back. It may not even work, and then you can't go anywhere, and then you're stuck out in the middle of nowhere. And you'll be right by Transair, which is Russian controlled as well. So I think the safest thing is to stay here. I don't think that, I think I mentioned before, I don't think that Russia has any intention of killing civilians for no reason whatsoever. Seems like all the targets are pretty specific. I reckon he's just putting the squeeze on, and he's just going to squeeze Zelensky until Zelensky says, okay, let's have an agreement or let's talk or whatever. I've got so many thoughts about this, but I just can't talk about them right now. So that may happen. Maybe it'll happen tomorrow. Maybe it'll happen in 2 months. But from what I understand, there's been a lot of damage to Ukrainian military bases. So I guess you can only have so many that you can, destroy before you kind of go nothing left. But Zelensky is saying whoever wants to go fight can fight. You'll be given a weapon, which to me just sounds like they can see the bottom of the barrel, and it's like, okay, it's a free-for-all. Whoever wants a weapon, just go and do it. It's just, it sounds like it'll be a bloodbath. But that's the update for now anyway, so just going to stay here in Odessa and try and make it through the night. I was just thinking, time is 3:52, 24th of February 2022. I was just thinking before about like if you went to Moldova or any other country, like Poland, for instance. And Putin has basically said to the West, like if you poke your nose in with this one, you're going to get it, And I don't think that he would be bluffing on that. I would say he's probably spent the last I don't know, 20 years, 15, 10 years, who knows, planning for something, you know, and this just happens to be that thing. And if the West do, like, I mean, I would imagine that he's got, at every step of the way, he's got multiple options for whatever the outcomes are for whatever is going to happen. So option A happens, he's got the option for that. I'd say this would be pretty well planned out, and I think it's going to be a lot more organised and planned out than probably the West could ever do, I think we'd all probably agree on that. And I think Putin sees that. You know, I also think that he's probably watched the United States invade a lot of countries over the years, and has watched how they have done it. And I'd say that he has got it pretty well sussed about what he thinks that they would do. So of course he's going to make a plan that's going to, work well for him in those situations. But I was thinking, when it comes to Moldova, like, let's just say NATO did attack. NATO did something other than these sanctions, which of course Russia knows it's going to happen. Does he care? No, he doesn't care. And if there was an attack by NATO and Putin pushed this button and missiles flew, 500 missiles flew simultaneously, instantly, to all NATO countries, you know, to target military bases, whether that be in Europe, whether it be in United States. If you went to Moldova and NATO attacked, you would be in a worse position than you would be in Ukraine, because I just don't believe that, I mean, I don't know, of course, but it doesn't make any sense to me that Putin would attack a country that's Orthodox, that speaks Russian, that kind of is Russian, you know, and he wants to be part of Russia. It doesn't make any sense to just annihilate this city, right? Or any city, Kiev or whatever city it is, right? To just annihilate the town square, right? Destroy the cultural history that's there, the statues and everything that goes with it. It doesn't make sense for that. What he's trying to do, whether it's right or wrong, I don't know. I don't have any views on all that sort of stuff. I really don't care. Like, he's trying to bring it all back together. What would be the point of completely destroying it? He doesn't hate Ukrainians, or he doesn't hate Russian people, you know, in the sense that Ukrainians are Russians. He doesn't hate those. They're not Jews fighting Christians. So in some sense, I kind of think that Odessa is probably not a bad place to be, as long as you're not in a military base. Those are my thoughts anyway. Well, that's what I'm telling myself anyway, but I'm going to go to bed tonight. But just sharing thoughts. So one thing I forgot to add in that last video, time is 5:10, day 1, 24th of February, just because I made a video and it didn't work, but I just got a very interesting message from a friend of mine who, his wife is in Belarus, in Gomel, I think that's how you say it, where there's a heavy Russian military presence. And if you look at what's going on in the news, it's like Russia is in cahoots, right, with Belarus. And, you know, Belarus is aiding them through their border. But also what I read earlier was that Belarus is also coming in as well, right? They're also like providing like military assistance through tanks and soldiers and all that sort of stuff, right? But the thing that he just told me that was pretty out there, whether it's true or not, and these days I have no reason to believe the most outlandish things are not true, is that in that city, talk around the town, is that Putin is going to turn his guns around and he's going to point them back at Belarus and take Belarus at the same time. And I sort of went back and forth with a few questions, and he said that that's what they think. Even Lukashenko, which is obviously the prime minister or president, I'm not sure what they have over there, the leader of that country, is also worried about it. I don't know how he knows that, but I've got no reason for him to just talk shit or anything like that. And so imagine that. Imagine if that happened, that they were running those drills in Belarus as part of their national security, but really it was to position Putin was to position his own tanks in a position where he could take Ukraine and then just flip them around. Maybe he leaves 100,000 troops there, flip them around, and also take Belarus as well. You know? That if that happens, that is a whole other level of warfare. It's almost like Belarus helped him take Ukraine, but was so fucking stupid that he didn't realise that he was getting played. Dunno. Interesting. I guess we'll see how that plays out. But I don't know. Don't know what comes next after that. Anyway, that's my thoughts for now. Okay. 5 p.m. 24th February, day 1 of the Russian invasion. You know, I've been thinking about the internet, you know. You know, it's like, it sounds kind of ridiculous because, you know, of everything in light of what's happening is if the internet goes down, I can't do my normal work, which sounds a bit ridiculous at this point in time. And that was the reason why I was going, well, one of the reasons why I was going to fly out so I could still continue to work on my, you know, with my businesses, because if there is some sort of cyber attack, which I think is going to be inevitable in the next few days, there'll be no internet and you won't be able to communicate with anybody. And you also won't be able to see what's going on. And so you'd hear everything. You might hear shelling, as they call it, but you wouldn't be able to look online and go, well, what's happened? I could check this map to see where the bombing is or whatever is going on. So you almost would feel kind of blind, I guess, as to what's going on, you know, and it makes you sort of think what it would have been like, you know, back in like, you know, World War I or World War II or any of those places where there's no internet. So you wouldn't actually sort of know what's going on. And I've got so many messages, like it's constant, of people asking, you know, what's going on, are you okay, you know, and all that sort of stuff. And normally I hate those like ding, 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 ding things when I'm preoccupied with something, but it's actually kind of like refreshing. So, you know, it's like if you can't communicate with anybody, you'd be fully, you know, like blind as to what's actually going on. So I was just kind of thinking about that before. But one other thing I was thinking about as well was that I don't think that, I don't know if I said this in the last video or not. I tried to make one before, but my phone died. Is that, you know, I think that tonight's going to be worse. I think tonight, in terms of the psychological side of it, is going to be worse. There's going to be a lot more flashes and bangs and all that sort of stuff. Like, I think that this is, like, it's a psychological game as well. Like that flare that was sent into the sky with the thing that made the big bang. Like, the only reason for that was to make people be scared and think that something, you know, is happening, or it is happening now. I think there's going to be more of those, you know, in the morning. I think it's going to be, you know, the same time. In the morning is going to happen again. And I think it was stupid to think that, like, Putin did his worst on the first night. I think he probably did 5%, if that, you know. And I think that it's just going to be depleting Ukrainians' military resources. And they will deplete them in the first day or two, where I think Russia, you know, it's going to drop 5% of its resources the first day, 10% the next day, whatever, 30% the next day. I think that's how it's going to go. And I was talking to Luba before, and she was saying that on the Ukrainian media that that Putin is basically saying, in some way or another, when you want to stop, we can stop and we can talk. So I don't think that Putin is going to stop. Zelensky is going to stop anytime soon. But I think that, you know, Ukraine doesn't have the resources, and I don't think that NATO is going to step in. And to be honest, I don't even know if that would be a good idea anyway. So yeah, I think that it's going to be worse tonight, worse the next night, worse the next night. And there's going to have to be some point where it's, you know, we're letting all the cats out of the bag on this one here, and yeah, I don't know how that's going to be or whatever. But yeah, there's not really much to sort of say about that, I suppose. We just hope that that Putin is not going to target like civilian areas or anything like that. He's just going to take out the military, and then from then on out, who knows what happens after that. I mean, I'm not Ukrainian, you know. I'd like to say I can leave anytime I want, but when there's no airports or trains, yeah, it makes it a little bit difficult. So, yeah, that's the update for now.
Hello guys, it's me Luba, and I decided to record this video for you today, the day that we all will remember for a long time. So a very unusual background for me, you know. It's just a mess that, you know, we try to pack and unpack, and it's just crazy. So we'll start telling like what just happened. And at night at 5 a.m. we heard a huge sound of a bomb. Like, it wasn't crazy because even the window started shaking. And yes, everybody was talking about that, everybody was like kind of aware, but nobody believed that it would actually happen. And this happened, and it was very scary. It was about like 5 bombs that we can hear, and it was pretty loud in different areas of Odessa, but Odessa is not such a big city, so you can hear. And then we already had a ticket to go to Poland, but the flights were all canceled and there was no way to go to the airport. Then we decided that we want to drive to Moldova, to the border, but at the moment the traffic there is for 100 kilometers, like the cars are just staying there. So it can take about 20 hours just to stay in that traffic. And we have a huge shortage of gas. So yesterday I put the full tank of gas to my car, but still it would not be enough to drive all the way there. So probably maybe we will get there, but at the same time, like no further, because there's shortage, no gas, and some gas stations, they just don't have it. Some gas stations just give it like very limited amount. So it's kind of dangerous to do it because you can get just stuck on a highway and who knows what's gonna happen. So it's 6 or 7 p.m. at the moment, so we packed, like everything is in a car, and I still don't know, like you can see, beautiful peaceful background. We still don't know what to take, for how long, what we're gonna do, where we're gonna go. Took some medicine and like different reasons, and then I unpacked because you want to be light. And one of my friends in Moldova said, you just come somewhere and then you just leave your car and you walk. And I said, how long? She said, no, like maybe all this line, like if you walk it will be faster. So the situation is like that. I decided to record it just to remember what is going on. And like the news are crazy, they're scaring people off. But we'll see how this night will go. And I will try to record you another message in the morning. Be safe.
Okay, time is 7:14 p.m. Day 1, 24th February, day 1 of the Russian invasion into Ukraine. One thing I'll say here is that I just went to the supermarket. I thought I'll grab some meat and some frozen stuff just in case and really stock up the fridge. And what I see at the supermarket is not congruent with what I feel myself. So I have this uneasy feeling that the world is coming to an end, right? The supermarket is, no one's buying ridiculous amounts of toilet paper or water or anything like that. You know, I saw one guy was like, him and his wife, I assumed, had their kid on their scooter and they were just rolling them around. And it's like, now it's 7:15, so it's probably half an hour ago. It's just, that's the thing that's really kind of messing with me, is that I'm thinking that people should be like on lockdown, living in bunkers and stocking up on preserved foods, rations and all that sort of stuff. But nobody is. So that's really fucking with my head. But that aside, I was just, on another note, I was just reading an article here from RT Media, which of course is Russian state media, right? And I do actually follow this, RT. I'm not pro-Russian, as I've already mentioned before, but sometimes they do have interesting stuff on here. Basically, what was just released on here was that Moscow, or Putin, is willing to negotiate the terms of surrender with Kyiv regarding to the ongoing Russia military offensive currently taking place in Ukraine. The article goes on to, the long and the short of it is that Putin is now saying, okay, you saw what I can do, right? You saw what's going on. And now I want to talk. Because yesterday or the day before, calls to the Kremlin were unanswered by Zelensky, apparently. And I guess, it's like a game of chess, And if you're watching someone who's really good at chess, you don't know what they're doing until afterwards you go, I get it. I should have seen that one coming. So he could have done a bullshit talk, which is probably done for the last 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years beforehand that was going to go nowhere, but he wanted to take the Donbass region. He wanted to secure that region. And he also wanted to make sure that Ukraine's military couldn't be deployed and take him out there. Or later on, if Ukraine doesn't surrender or doesn't sit down at the table and do the negotiations, right? So now it's on the table. It's like, okay, what do you want to do now? Do you want to go another night like this where I'm sure there's another list of things that they're going to blow up, other government buildings. Basically they're going to try and narrow down wherever Zelensky is and try and find him. So Zelensky is going to he's going to have to stay and fight to the end. I don't know. I just can't even fathom how this is going to end. Either it ends before the end or it ends at the end, and then the end of that is like, okay, so all Ukraine was demilitarized in the sense that it was all blown to bits. Ukraine has now come in. They put some general in charge in Kyiv. It's a military state, but Russian military. What happens to everything, right? Because when they took over Crimea, they said, Ukrainians that old land here, you've got to sell it now, or if you don't sell it, we're going to take it off you. So basically they'd have to sell it for next to nothing because, of course, they have to sell it so people know that they have to sell it for next to nothing. Would that be the same thing that's going to happen here? And what happens with foreigners that own land, or people that have married a Ukrainian woman, that have a legal right to be here, or that have a Ukrainian business that's under Ukrainian law? What happens to all of those things, That's like the very end. That's the thing that, that scares me the most in terms of if it's got to that point there's going to be so much devastation and destruction and people that have died on both sides to get to that. But going back to this article here, basically what Putin has said is that this operation has its goals and they must be achieved. The president said that all decisions have been made and the goals have achieved. So he knows what he wants, right? And he wants Kyiv or Zelensky to agree to these rules, which are basically, like he's saying, he's calling it securing the peace. But basically the rules are that Ukraine will be demilitarized. And it will guarantee neutral status, like Switzerland, and it has promise of no weapons on its territory. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Fuck knows. But I think that building up your military, you'll be seen as a threat. If you don't have any military and you're seen as kind of like what we call the GC in New Zealand, which is like the good cunt, the person that's everyone's friend, no one wants to mess with them, that can also be a good thing. But depends on who, like what's happening around, like the surrounding border. Because if someone doesn't have any ways to defend themselves, could Ukraine just be taken just like that, you know? And even if it does have military, it could still be taken just like that, just with a little bit more effort and a lot more dead people. So my guess is tonight, being a psychological game to scare the people that are here into begging Zelensky to somehow give up, perhaps. I think that today they're going to blow up some more government buildings, maybe some ammunition silos. I don't know, just some stuff. But one thing I think is for sure is that one loud or two loud super flashbangs in the sky last night, there's going to be a shit ton of them tonight or tomorrow morning. And the next day will be even worse. And the day after that will be even worse as Putin pushes the screws in to make it incredibly scary. But from what I see, people doing their shopping, nobody seems to care, which I don't know. That really is very uneasy for me. But those are just my thoughts anyway. At 7:21 p.m., you know, I really just want to go to sleep soon and sleep all the way through till about 9 a.m. and not hear anything. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. I think it's going to be pretty fucking loud.
It is 9 p.m. here, and we have little basement under our garage that we trying to set up in case something will happen. It was not prepared for anything. It was just like a storage, and it's very cold. But here we put some stuff, and I don't know, we may have to spend a night here. It looks like this, and hope we will not come. It's very cold, so we put it's the only heating system that we have, and tomorrow they announce that maybe there are going to be no power and no water, so we hope that it will be all right. So this is how it looks like.